Hey everybody, hey MP here, and today we're going to take a look at how to manage a bunch of different repos with a bunch of NPM packages. So if your organization or open source project that you're working with is using modern JavaScript, you're probably publishing some of this code to NPM. And collaborating on all this modern JavaScript can be fairly difficult. And JavaScript in particular has this problem. I mean, the package that you're writing for this project, you're also using for this project and with this organization, it's really tough to manage all those projects. So what I want to do is let's see if we can come up with a semi-real life example on how you would manage a bunch of different projects across a university. Let's dive in. In this example, our university in question is Gotham University. So at Gotham University, we have different colleges, different marketing departments. So if we take a look at the code, what that might look like is under my Gotham University, I might have some repos, some monorepos. So a monorepo is sort of a new way of organizing all of your projects. It's becoming a little bit more popular, so you can look to projects such as Babel or Polymer to see how they have actually taken all of their separate individual repos and merged those into one, what's called a monorepo. For this case, let's assume that as an organization, we've made the decision that monorepo is the best way to go. So in each one of these monorepos, I have a lerna.json. And what lerna.json does is I define what are all of the individual repos, or what used to be repos. What pattern am I looking for? So in our case with Gotham University, the Gotham logo that would traditionally be its own repo is now located under my elements folder. And those elements folder to Lerna, as far as Lerna is concerned, those would be an individual NPM package. Let's say that I want to publish a new version of this Gotham logo. So what I would do is inside of my Gotham University folder, I'd go into repos where all my mono repos are located. I'd go to Gotham main, and let's do an LG, and I can see that I've done some cleanup work, and I can publish a new version of this package. So with Lerna, I'm going to use Lerna publish, and Lerna publish is going to take care of all my versioning for me. It's going to take care of publishing those package changes up to NPM. Let's take a look at what that looks like. So inside of Gotham main, I'm going to say Lerna publish. Lerna publish is going to check of what the current version is, which is 0.0.3, and it's going to recommend a couple different changes. So is this a patch, a minor, or a major release? And there we go. Lerna just took care of publishing all that for us. If we check back at npm.js.com, we can see that our Gotham logo is now at 0.0.4. Perfect. So let's say that we want to add something new. Let's say that we wanted to create a footer. So to do that, we're inside the Gotham main monorepo. Let's go inside of elements, where all of our individual web component elements would be. So we have Gotham repo. What I'm going to do is just make Gotham footer. In Gotham footer, I'm going to run npm init. So let's open up Gotham footer here. Now the first thing I'm going to do is I'm actually going to rename this under the Gotham namespacing on npm repository. So if we look back to how we currently have it, I have an organization on NPM called Gotham, and underneath there, all of my packages across all of my different monorepos are actually using the @Gotham prefix. So let's add that prefix here. After we've renamed this, let's change the version to 0.0.0, and we're going to add a description, Gotham standard footer. And let's change the main file from index.js to Gotham footer.js. Likewise, we'll create the Gotham footer.js. Now, here's typically where you'd naturally want to create a web component. To save time, I'm just going to export just a small function. So the one thing that we have to do is we have to add a property, and I'm just going to paste it in here. And it's publish config object and access equals public. So with that, that should give Lerna permission to package this as an individual package up to our NPM account. So let's try it. We will cut. So the first thing we would do is add this change. Oh, and I can already tell I spelled it wrong. So let's move Gotham footer to Gotham footer.js. Make sure that I spelled it correctly. Yes, yes, yes. I'm going to add it, and then I am going to make a commit. So now that we've added a Gotham footer, let's back up to our monorepo for Gotham main and publish a new version of this monorepo and publish all of the packages associated with it. Travel back up into Gotham main, and I'm going to run Lerna publish. This will be a patch. And so as you can see, Lerna is going to say it's going to increment the versions for both Gotham logo and Gotham footer to the same version. Now, sidebar, this is configurable in Lerna. So you could do it this way, or you could actually have these individual packages be independent and have independent version numbers. I don't know how you would manage that, to be honest. This way makes more sense to me. But that is an option. Okay, great. So it looks like we published those packages. If I go over to our Gotham organization on NPM registry and I refresh, and if the Wi-Fi ever works, all right, so we can see that we've published the Gotham footer, and it's published at 0.0.5, which is identical to our Gotham logo. So let's take a quick recap of what we've done. In this example, we would be working for the central marketing unit at Gotham University. And what we've done is we've added two packages to our monorepo, and we've published those two packages as individual packages on npm.com. Now, npm.js.com, forgive me. So why is this useful? So this is extremely useful if you want to use it in, let's say, another department. So if we were working in the science department and we were developing our own applications, we would want to leverage the work done by the central marketing agency, the unit at our university, right? Well, now that they have published those web components, those elements, to npm registry, we can easily pull those down and use those in our applications. So let's take a look at what that scenario would look like. So let's go into Gotham Science and see what elements we can make. So in here, as we can see, this is a monorepo, and we know that because there's a lerna.json here. And if we cd into elements, we'll see the Gotham Science header. So let's make a new, well, actually, let's take a look at Gotham Science header first. Close this, and we'll open up Gotham Science. Let me close these. Okay, so Gotham Science has the Gotham Science header. And inside of Gotham Science header, you can see that we're actually using the Gotham logo. And we can tell that this Gotham Science header depends on that Gotham logo by going to the package.json, and we can see that it is listed as one of the dependencies. So let's create a new component in here that uses both the logo and the footer from the Gotham main monorepo. So inside of elements, I'm going to create a new folder called Gotham Science website. And I'm first going to npm init. We can change the name to prefix it with our Gotham organization. Again, I will change this version. I'm going to change the index here. Oops, there we go. And again, we are going to add that publish config access public to make sure that Lerna can indeed publish this to our npm registry. Now let's create the actual file here. If I can create it, .js. And we're going to return, what should we return? Oh, right. So what we want to do is pull in the logo and the footer from Gotham main. So naturally, we need to add those two packages as dependencies for this component. And then from here, I'm going to say that this is the Gotham Science website. Great. Now, let's publish those to npm. So I'm going to add this. I'm going to git commit. Oops, I don't want to commit the node modules. So there we go. Now we'll git commit, added the Gotham Science website template. Okay, so now let's publish this from our Gotham Science monorepo up to npm. Back here, and from the Gotham Science monorepo location, I'm going to run learn publish. I'm going to issue a patch release It's going to increment both the header and the website from Gotham Science. Okay, so that's finished. So let's take a look over on NPM, and you can see that we have successfully published the Gotham Science website and the Gotham Science header. So again, quick sidebar. With this workflow, we can keep two separate monorepos that belong to two separate organizations, completely separate, still rely on each other's package, and then ultimately publish to the same namespace on NPM registry. So that might be pretty cool. Now let's talk about the next problem. Monorepos work great for large organizations that can keep all of their projects located into one monorepo. That is a huge feat to pull off, but large organizations like Google seem to be doing it, so maybe there's some validity in that. However, I think a lot of the time what happens is that you do find yourselves into these pseudo-separate organizations. I mean, we work together, we collaborate, but it's totally different structures. Maybe it's different companies, maybe it's different open source projects. So the thought of merging all of those together in one monorepo, it would never happen. So with the example that we just showed, in theory, you could keep those totally separate, but easily share across the two. Unfortunately, the downside is it makes the development process not so great. You see, with Lerna can bootstrap all of your packages inside of your monorepo together. However, it's not designed to work across monorepos. So we have the Gotham main and the Gotham Science. The Lerna can't figure out what's the same with those and make sure that they're all sim-linked together so you have one source of truth for the package that you're working on. So what can we do? Well, it just so happens that there's this thing called Yarn Workspaces. So Yarn Workspaces works similar to Lerna as far as development, but it doesn't do any of the publishing as far as I know. So can we use both of these to have the best of both worlds? Let's take a look. So this is the repos folder, which will contain a listing of all of our monorepos. And if I go one step back to the Gotham University level, this wouldn't be a real repo that you would publish, but it would be a way for you as a developer to keep track of all of the different monorepos that are happening across your institution. So if I say npm init, and so now we'll go back into VS Code and we'll take a look at the package JSON. The information in here doesn't really matter. We're not going to publish this anywhere, so the name doesn't matter. It doesn't have a version. This is just a structural way for you to keep organized. But what we do need this package JSON for is to add a Yarn workspace. So I'm going to add a new property called Workspaces. And in here is going to be an array. So an array of workspaces that it should look out for. And so what we're going to say is, I need you to look out for any project that has this pattern. So basically we're looking for where are all the nested package.json files located in this repo. All right. So we're going to say that it is, you can look in repos / wildcard. And so that would be one. So we would want all of the, so basically what this pattern would mean is that Gotham main and Gotham Science monorepos, so their individual package.jsons will be sort of combined. So like it would dedupe basically all the dependencies that are in there. Okay, so we want that. What we also want is repos slash wildcard slash elements, and then a wildcard for any element that it finds in there. So it's going to follow that pattern, and wherever it sees a package.json, it's going to grab everything that's in there, dedupe the dependencies, and install a central node modules folder that will be at the root of the Gotham University. And it will use symlinks to make sure that everybody's using the same node modules folder. It will also symlink the individual packages to their source of truths, meaning that the package for Gotham Science logo that's located inside of the Gotham Science website will point back to the original Gotham logo package that's located in Gotham main monorepo. I know it's a little crazy and my tiny brain cannot handle it, but let's keep going and see if we can find something here. So now that I've done that, to use that feature, we would do yarn install. And something went wrong. Let's check it out. Our file here, and we can say private equals true. Okay, so let's try that again. So now you can see that I had no dependencies listed in this particular package.json. No dev dependencies, no dependencies at all. But I set up Workspaces. And so Workspaces followed my pattern to locate all of the package.jsons. And what it did is it created a node modules folder that sits at the root of where I ran yarn install. So where my Workspaces have been defined. So let's take a look in there to see what that looks like. So a lot of packages here. So I had required Babel for one of the projects. I can't remember which one it was, but it grabbed that and put that and hoisted it up to this location. And you can see that it has our Gotham folder here. So let's click in here and see what that looks like. And so as you can see, there's some symlinks in here, which is exactly what we like to see, because that means that there's probably just a single source of truth for our packages, which is exactly what we're trying to do. So let's kind of put this all together and see what this might look like from a development perspective. What I'm going to do is create an app.json at the root level of my Gotham University. You hear that? The air is on. Cold air shut off? Question marks? You can raise the temp on the thermostat. Thank you, Melissa. Thank you. All right. I'd love to shut that air off because it's loud, but honestly, it's really hot in here. So let's just keep plowing forward. Maybe I'll speak closer into the mic. Okay, so inside of this app.js file, we are going to require the science website. We're going to do that by requiring the Gotham Science website. And we're going to console log that out just so we can see something. All right, let's go back to our terminal. And I'm going to run node app.js. And we can see that indeed we have our little web component here. Woohoo! All that work finally paid off. We have this. So that's really cool. but what if I could just change the logo in one place, the central marketing place, and have it update through, hey, shut off, this Gotham Science website web component. So, well, wait, hold on, Mike. So you just said that you would want to change this in the Gotham main monorepo, but you're working out of the Gotham Science repo. Like, why would you do that? This is the whole point. You have two separate repos, two separate organizations. So what Mike was wondering was, okay, well, you said that we were two separate organizations. That's why there's two separate monorepos. So you might indeed be a developer for the College of Science, but you might also want to help out your colleagues that work in the central marketing unit. This is the typical scenario that I'm sure most developers find themselves. So in this case, it's a university, but you can imagine across open source projects, across companies. If you're a design agency, you can imagine this being from project to project, where each project has their own monorepo, but you want to build off of the one before it without messing it up too much. So let's test it out and see if this is a viable solution to that. So let's try to make a change to this logo. So I will go into the Gotham logo here and updated branding. I'm going to put, this is the updated branding for 2020. So going into the future here. So I've just made a change to the logo. Let's see if that shows up, indeed shows up in our application. We'll run node app.js. And as you can see, it's updated. So this might seem kind of trivial, but it's actually quite powerful. We've in essence fused together these two separate monorepos. So as a developer, we can work really quickly and contribute to both of them. So let's test this out further. Let's make a change to our website here and say new chemical found. Pretty exciting stuff. Okay, and we'll go back to our application that we're working on. And so now we head back and we can see that both changes are now reflected. So that is how we might be able to work on separate repos using the best of both worlds, using a tool like Lerna that helps us publish and help us manage dependencies just in the monorepo, while Yarn Workspaces might help us pull together multiple monorepos. So as a developer, you can working on them without going completely insane. All right, I hope you liked this video. Let me know what you think. Let me know if I missed anything, if you have some better ideas. Is there anything else out there that I'm not aware of? Love to hear your